Well, hello crafters and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. My name is Deepa from DeeZinesByD and today I have a fun summer card to share with you. Now this one screams ice cream and it features the Ice Cream Celebration stamp and die set by Avery Elle. So let's go ahead and get a look at these products. So as I mentioned, we've got the stamp and die set by Avery Elle. It's called Ice Cream Celebrations and you can see you get a nice big ice cream cone and a bunch of sentiments here. You could use the happy, you could use the numbers, and it's got the endings like sta, and rd. Now I'm showing you here that the die, you can see it's nice and big. If you are going to use the outline, you're going to see that it's not really going to fit on an A2 size card, so you might want to go with something larger. And today we're going to be doing a card that's 5x7, so A7 sized. You've got all of the cute sentiments. So you've got happy, birthday, way to go. So you can use it for things other than birthdays, like an encouragement card. And it's got the little sections in there so you could make it a shaker. And that's exactly what we're going to do today using these Spellbinders confetti shaker bits. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp out that cute ice cream cone. I love that it's just such a nice large stamp, so it really it makes your crafting easier. So if you want, I would say if you weren't going to do the shaker, this would be perfect for making a quick card. And those large ice cream scoops are perfect for if you wanted to put your sentiment inside of there. You could probably put the way to go, or you could put the number with the ending for the number there as well. So it's really up to you how you want to design it. I went with the shaker because it's just the easiest. And let's just be honest, I mean, the shaker is just the most fun to make too. Now, I used to be one of those people who just stayed away from shaker cards just because I thought that it took a bit too much time to cut out multiple die cuts to create the actual wells for the shaker bits, or to, cut my foam, especially if you have your die cuts are a little thinner, then you really have to cut your foam thin. The width of the foam that you get is usually much bigger, and maybe you have to double it up. That takes more time, and foam is also a bit expensive depending on whether you make your own or you buy it. So I thought, I'm not going to do shakers. But then I came across these thinner foam strips that are available in the ScrapbookPal store, and these are a godsend, and they make making shaker cards just so much more fun. Ever since I've got them, it's like shaker cards are all that I make. So that's really my secret weapon, or my trick to making shaker cards and making them faster. So besides that, as you can see, I've already gone ahead and I've started coloring in my cute ice cream cone with my Copics. I've got a bunch of browns for the cone. I'm using some pinks, some RVs, some B's and Y's for the 3 ice cream scoops. And you'll notice when I do color them in that I'm only coloring in the outline of these scoops. Now, if you are not going to do the shaker card, then you could color in the entire thing. At this point, I had decided that I was actually going to remove those centerpieces where the shaker bits are going to be and have a different color of cardstock in the background. However, in the end, I actually did put these little pieces that are cut out with the die right back in. And I'll show you how I did that because I just felt that it looked more complete and the shaker bits showed up a little better on it. Another point I wanted to add, that you can see when I do color in these ice cream scoops, I am not blending them at all. I'm really just laying a line of the darkest, the mid-tone, and then the lightest tone. And you can see those marker marks. And I like that effect, especially for cards like this. It kind of has more of like a, I don't even know what you would call it, but I've seen this effect in other graphics and things on TV. So I thought that this would look really cool. And then those little straws, you can pick whichever color you'd like to fill those in, or keep them more of a neutral tone. It's up to you. I decided to add some red. And there you have my ice cream cone pretty much completely colored in. So now I'm going to go to my dies. So as you can see, the die set comes with an outline die, a die that cuts out the ice cream cone exactly. It still has a little bit of a white border. And then you've got the 3 pieces which cut out the center pieces of the ice cream scoop. So I'm going to line up the closer outline to the ice cream cone and those smaller bits for the scoops, tape them all down and cut them out in one swoop through my die cutting machine. Now, I don't normally do larger die cuts like this on camera because I do have the Sizzix Big Shot Plus. It's a larger machine, so it's harder to kind of show you everything on camera. So there we have everything cut out, and you can see everything just comes out nicely. That ice cream cone looks so cute there. And I also cut out a piece of pink cardstock with that outline die, the larger die there. Now, as you can see, I was going to keep it with that pink in the background, but I did change it up after. Next, I'm adding my acetate. So these are acetate pieces. I'm just adding some tape runner to the outside of the ice cream scoops, and I'm just going to attach the acetate. Now I have 2 pieces of acetate because I'm using up some scraps. So when I do add them, I'm kind of cutting them a bit and making sure that there's no overlap, because if there is an overlap and you can see it through the openings, you're going to see the overlap and it's not going to look like a complete sheet of acetate. And once I've got my acetate on there, all I have to do is kind of cut around with my scissors so that the die cut is still kept intact. So now that I have done that, I'm trying to figure out how to place this on here. Now I have my 3 centerpieces for the scoops, and I decided I didn't really like the pink, so I'm going to add them in. I'm just kind of inlaying them there on the top, and I'm using some press and seal here to pick them up. And then I'm just going to release this, picking up only the centers of the scoops. And then all I have to do is add some adhesive to the back of these die cuts. And what I'm going to do is I'm just placing it on top. So I haven't pressed anything down. I can still move it around. And I'm just going to place my die cut right in the center so that I know exactly what you could do. If you wanted, you could kind of trace, but I had already put the acetate in there. You could trace around the inside of the scoops and then position it. That might be easier. But as I mentioned, I already put that acetate in because I wasn't actually going to do this step. I kind of lined it up, and now I'm pressing it all down. And there I have the center of my scoops right in the center. Now, another way you could go about this is you could cut that outline of like not the one that I use for the pink, but the one that I use for the actual colored in ice cream. And then you could just color in the center of the scoops again and put that in the background there, and that would show up in the back. Or you could do this complicated way that I did it, but it still worked out and I didn't have to waste any more cardstock or make another die cut. So I'm just checking that it lines up here and all looks well. So I'm going to move on to my background. I'm using some Distress Oxide inks in Spun Sugar, Dried Marigold, Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistachio, Tumbled Glass, and Shaded Lilac. So as you can see, I've picked some lighter colors or lighter tones of each of these colors, and I've got a rainbow going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my blending brush here, and I'm just going to ink blend a diagonally striped rainbow on this cardstock panel here. Now, this panel is a 5-inch by 7-inch cardstock panel. As I mentioned, I'm making a larger card because that ice cream is larger, or that ice cream cone. Now, people always ask me, how do you do your blending? How do you get the colors to mix one into the other into the other? Now, there are 2 tricks to this. Now, one is to be very patient. You'll notice as I'm blending these, there looks like there's quite a partition between the 2 colors. And my point with being patient is that, no, don't just keep trying and being patient. It means just wait. So do your ink blending, and once you're done, those colors even out a little more. It may look a little more splotchy while you're doing it, but once it's dry, they'll even out and the colors will blend a little better. My second tip is to actually go back to the previous color. So I've ink blended that Cracked Pistachio. Now I'm using the Tumbled Glass. Now, to make those colors blend at the join a little better, I'm going to go back and grab my brush with the Cracked Pistachio and go over that line right here between the green and the blue. And then I'll go back again with the blue, and you just keep blending out that line between the 2 colors as much as you can. Now remember, it will have a little bit of splotchiness until it's completely dry, and then once it is dry, you will say, oh my god, that really worked out. And if you happen to tune into my videos, you'll notice I use oxides a lot, because oxides, well, mainly because for the oxide, not the oxide, but the distress inks, I have the mini blocks. So I'm kind of running out of my ink there. I have to get the re-inkers. But my oxides I have in you know, those larger pads, and there's a lot of ink on there, and they blend just so much nicely than the distress inks. The distress inks by themselves take a little bit more skill and practice to kind of blend those, since they are a dye ink and don't have that pigment component. Okay, so I've moved on here. I've got those thin strips of foam that I was talking about, and you could see that they're like about 1/8 of an inch, or maybe 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, I'm in Canada and we use the metric system here, so it's always hard for me to kind of compare by looking, but they are nice and thin, and you can see they fit around the outline of this die cut perfectly. And the thing is that you can turn them around, shape them. The only thing that kind of stops them from shaping is the release paper. So if you really want to shape them better, just take the release paper off the other side, and the foam will curve nicely. So I've done the shaker wells, and then I'm also adding some extra foam to just the bottom of the cone and the straws to give it some structure there and to maintain the dimension. Now I've got these Spellbinders confetti sprinkles. You've got confetti, and then you've got some cylinders. And I'm just to prepare, I'm taking the release paper off of all of the little pieces on the ice cream cone. I usually do this and keep it aside so it's ready to go. And then I'll grab my sprinkles. I've got like a little scoop here, and I'm just kind of putting my sprinkles down in the center of those scoops, those scoop die cut bits that we attached there. And then I'm adding some of each of the 2 confetti bits here. Now, at first you can see it's kind of all over the place, but then what I do is I just make sure that it's right there in the center of the scoop. Now, once I've kind of got everything there in the center, I will carefully take the top piece and just position it over those scoops, over the confetti bits. You can see I have a piece that kind of came out. I'm just tucking it in, and now since I've got everything in the little wells, I'm going to press it down hard, and you can see I have my shaker ice cream. Really fun looking. So now I'm grabbing my background and I'm attaching the ice cream kind of on a slant there. And you can see how that inked up background looks much more blended and nice now. I'm adding the sentiment. So I'm adding the happy on the top left corner here with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I love the VersaFine Clair. It just stamps so nicely on the first go. And now I've got the birthday to you sentiments, and I thought it would be cool to kind of position them around the bottom of the cone there. I've been doing this lately, positioning my sentiments in just more unique and fun ways. Another way you could do it is have it curving along the side of those ice cream scoops at the top, but I thought the cone was just it's a nice straight edge. It's a nice place to kind of place these. So I've put these down, and I put happy birthday to you, so you can kind of go around the bottom edge of the cone to get the rest of the sentiment. Now I've got my card base, which is 5x7, and sorry, I forgot to mention that I did cut down this panel just slightly. I cut it down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 so that I could get that white border around the edge. I've attached it, and now I'm adding some embellishments. So I've got these pearls from Pink Fresh Studio. They are the matte gold pearls, and I find that when I do rainbow or rainbow anything on my cards, these gold or matte gold pearls just go perfectly. If you don't like the packet of loose pearls and you prefer to have stickers, there's Honeybee Stamps. They also have a version of these pearls that come in stickers. You could get those also. Those are all available in the ScrapbookPal store. So now that I've got my pearls on there, I decided that the background needed a little something more. So I'm grabbing my white jelly roll pen, and I'm just adding some dots here and there. Now, if you wanted to and had planned this out, you could have actually just sprinkled some water on top of the background, and since they're oxide inks, they'd react, and then you just get like a nice kind of shower of sprinkle in the background. However, since I didn't do that, the jelly roll pen will suffice. And I didn't stop there. I thought that I needed just a little bit more shine. So I grabbed my diamond stickles and I'm just adding some of it along the straw and around the outline of the ice cream scoops. And I think I also add it down there by the cone. Now there's a portion there that's a little darker where I'd colored it in underneath the scoops where I think there'd be a little bit of a shadow. And I added a bunch of those stickles there as well. So I find that added shine just really brings out the rainbow in this card as well. So there you have my card inspiration today featuring the Avery Elle Ice Cream Celebrations dies and stamps. All of the products that I've used today, including the Confetti Bits by Spellbinders, are available in the ScrapbookPal store. There are links within the description that you can click on to find those. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos. See you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.